Hello everyone. Yesterday I posted a short announcement that starting January 2020, New Millennial Kingdom is bringing you the latest messages coming through the established universal broadcast system to Earth that called Uranja in the universe. You will hear messages from Jesus Christ Michael. He's the creator son of Nebadon, our Father in heaven, who has bestowed himself in Jesus 2000 plus years ago. Father God and other deities, celestial sons, who are laboring to redeem the earth and her population into the kingdom of God, to bring heaven to earth, currently working through a handful of humans in this endeavor. Their goal and ultimate heart desire is to see all of us in the Father's house, partaking with joy in the united family of God. This is only the beginning, but the most important part for all of us to consider is to be aware and to become a part of this ever-expanding God project. This will forever change our lives and destiny. Plugging into the system now will greatly benefit you, even if you may not fully agree or understand everything. God is our daily guide regardless. Practicing pressing into His presence makes our hearing of His voice perfect. In this case, hearing means hearing and believing by faith what you heard, which will be very much needed in the coming times. Just keep listening to get more familiar with His voice until you can. What begins now will not stop until all is done, and the earth reaches the state of light and life in the kingdom of God. So let us begin. God bless you all.
Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. This is the USA Lightline reestablishing itself for 2022. I am Ron Besser, your host, and Phyllis Simpson, your co-host. I am going to start with a Q&A session.
I know I have promised in the invitation I made that I will not change anything on the recording, but I will break my own rule this time because I don't want to start this recording with questions and answers that is completely irrelevant to you. If you want to hear them, you can go on the website and hear it there. I will give you instructions how to get there, but I think I will just leave the introduction and the last sentence of the Q&A and take it from there. And there is one more thing you will hear Ron continue talking in place of the celestials, that's called transmitting. And transmission, the only goal there is to repeat everything you hear exactly. Now, he has the ability not only just repeat without ever making a mistake, but also that he is able to articulate exactly the same way as he hears it. And that's such an unusual ability that no one else has that on the whole planet Earth but him. And this is coming from Father. So you will hear him actually, you will hear Father God testify to that in this recording. So don't be surprised that all you will hear is his voice, and yet you are hearing a conversation, very colorful, and it's easy to follow, and you just really know who is speaking. And I hope you enjoy it. God bless you. And then you can set a goal for yourself to be a transmitter. We all would like that, but it takes work. I hear, but I'm far from being there yet. And it's important to mention that Ron is 79 years old. You may hear it in his voice. And he has over 30 years practice in transmitting. His health is in a critical condition, and you will hear references to that in the recording. So let us begin.
Okay, well then let's go to the MC. Hold on, please. This is your MC Tarkus, Ron. That's a lovely idea that helps us gauge just what is in their minds. I'm going to tell you this. The first big change is that I, Tarkus, have been recalled to paradise. I'm speaking from paradise to Ron through his voice box. And to all of you, thank you for coming in such prolific numbers We now have 8 on streaming and 26 on our direct phone call. Now, the direct phone call has about 5 or 6 using the internet audio. Guys, on streaming, if you run into problems with our service there is an internet audio link at the top of the discussion forum. You're welcome to log in there and listen on your computer. Now, this is Tarkus, Ron. We now have set a record. Yeah, we have 34. I don't think we've ever had that many for our Lightline, and I'm so grateful for you to attend. The motion to hear today is about the changes we have made in the month that you've been away. First of all, I'm Tarkus. I am one without name and number, and I believe you understand that Jack, under his own old number 0802AB, midware of long ago, is now also one without name and number, and he will co-host with me, that's Tarkus and Jack, on your future Lightlines for the USA Lightline only. Those of you who do other Lightlines as hosts, Amethyst, you will have Tarkus. Clancy, we think you will have Jack and one other unnamed. Renee, we are going to continue with Father for you. Lemuel, for the Saturday broadcast, will likely have either Van or others you do not know. So just go, Lemuel, with whoever speaks as your MC. Now this, all Lightlines are still here, ready to go, and they will be coming forth this week on their regular schedules. For your information, I no longer list the dates on the schedule on the discussion forum. I just give you the day they are present and the time they are ready to broadcast. Look at the individual categories for them for your call-in numbers and any comments or tapes that come from it to listen to. That's really no change from last year. But this year, we're going to institute something different. And that is, Ron began this Lightline with a Q&A session I just loved. It gave us a hint what you're really thinking about, and that helps us organize just what we want to tell you. Here's Michael of Nebadon. We welcome you, Michael. Please go ahead when you're ready. Thank you, Ron. Such a pleasure to hear your voice again. Thank you, Michael, and likewise. The truth of the matter is that Ron has been through so many changes in the last 30 days. We're going to speak to what affects you. First of all, streaming will continue. Internet audio will continue. And this present telephone service will continue until we can improve it. It still lacks the ability to control a large number. Right now we have 26 on the direct call, with about 5 of those numbers on the internet audio, and we now have 9 on streaming. That's a wonderful turnout, and thank you for remembering. Now for this, let me tell you, one of the biggest changes we have made is to change personnel around. Tarkus and maybe Jack, Henslon, or Henson, I beg your pardon. And there's one other you don't know, Ron, who is here and is nameless. One without name and number, yes. Are all here to support the Lightline staff. But you're going to have a variability in who you use as your host. Lightline USA on Sunday will always be with Tarkus. He's insisted upon it. But you may have variation, particularly on the Thursday, which doesn't exist anymore, or particularly on the Friday and Saturday Lightlines. Those schedules have been switched around a little bit, but we are maintaining them as promised for the future. Now this. One of the first things that have changed, you ought to all know about, is that the Deity Absolute, along with Mantutia Melchizedek, along with the Magisterial son Rayson, have declared Ron a national treasure and are funding him. What does that mean? Well, finally, resources, and finally, a visible entrance to the Magisterial mission and to the Michael mission. The Jesus mission we will talk about later. With the Magisterial mission, Ron has already mentioned Rayson Electric. We are going to build an electric utility and go all out. It will broadcast 20 megawatts of power for a radius of 200 miles. No longer do you need wires, just an antenna to pick us up. Your cost will be about $200 a year, and that's a guesstimate right now. We don't know precisely what it is. All you will do is you will plug in an antenna where your wire used to come in. It will be high enough to catch the broadcast, and your electricity will be the same, identical, as from your public utility of electricity. That's how good this will be. Ron has asked Rayson to make sure that he is visible and here, to make sure that during the construction of Rayson Electric in Dover Township, that he knows that the wiring is correct and that we have made no serious error in hooking the generators up. The generators will be 3 in number. The first 2 are regular generators. But the third generator is a slave. That means we put the third generator on without any magnets. We pass the first 2 generating electricity with electrons into the slave. And the way we wire the slave without magnets converts the electrons into real light, fluffy, ginger ale-like muons. They are so light, they almost float anyhow. They leave the tower at the speed of light. There will never be any interruption of electricity because of tornadoes or because of hurricanes or ice storms or snowstorms, unless, of course, your house falls down. Then we have a problem. We have asked Rayson to attend the final construction of Rayson Electric. That's what we're going to call it. Ron has put off answering the question as whether to have stocks, that is, make it a public company, or not. We see the advantage of a public company, but we feel we need to protect it entirely by keeping it private. We have no way for you to invest in the utility unless someone like the Father says it's good business to do that. Then we will listen to it. Furthermore, Ron has declared that the Magisterial Foundation is too vulnerable, not from takeover, but from sending it to somebody who is heir to the will that Ron wrote, to give someone the Magisterial Foundation when he dies, as he owns it. Two things you should know. One, Ron insists, and we will buy it, that it is sold to us for $1. But we are eternal spirit, and for that reason, we are going to insist that Ron form a public trust. And that public trust will never give anyone to inherit it, but will remain a corporation, tax-free, without profit, for the rest of the life of the corporation. Ron's will needs changed. He hopes to God he lives long enough to change it so that the Magisterial Foundation becomes a genuine public trust and owned by the divine. That is going to be true of the Rayson Corporation. That's going to be true for the York Pre-Particle Holding Corporation. That's going to be true of the holding corporation for deeds, gifts, and the building of a big library. Ron has been upset that we cannot get to work on the library because now is the time to gather materials to put in it. In a year is going to be tough to do for reasons we are not stating right now. Furthermore, the truth of the matter is that the entire operation of what are, I believe, 5 or 6 corporations. Yes, Ron, this is Ron. I step in. I have deleted 2 corporations. I have another corporation sitting on the bench not quite knowing what to do. We have 6 reportable corporations right now. I'm keeping that at 6, and we're probably going to make some name changes. But 6 is the answer right now, Michael. Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Now this. The truth of the matter is that the number of corporations Ron has to report is enormous. No one should have 6 corporations. But what Ron has done for all of you is to provide a function for each part of the mission to have its own corporation and its own head. We like it so much, we're going to use it. Just a minute. This is Ron. We are shuffling paper. Hold on. Thank you, Ron. Now this. We have changed the departments that we talked about clear back in the summer, and those who head it. For instance, there is no longer an educational department, Elise. You are still going to be education, but you're going to work under a Melchizedek department rather than a planetary prince department. That's true for all the other ones. Ron will represent the revelatory department. The science department will be headed by Rayson, the magisterial son Rayson, and by myself, Michael of Nebadon, with Gabriel's help. It will be the hot department to start. Ron has requested that the local college hold a conference with him. They have not even given the courtesy of a reply. But the problem is not the courtesy of a reply, is how in the world do you reply to a man who's suggesting the second return of Jesus? And them and their history department writing a daily journal to keep the history of it going. It's a marvelous idea. They will buy it. But we have to provide the college resources. I'm asking Magisterial to come forward to tell you what we plan for your college. Thank you, Michael. This is Magisterial, Ron, and welcome, Magisterial. Please go ahead. Thank you. Ron suggested to me that we use the history department of your college. There are 5 history professors in it. 3 of them are usable, the other 2 are useless. All right. Now, yes, Ron. No, I love your assessments, Magisterial. I wouldn't touch them. It's all right, Ron. I beg your pardon. This is Magisterial. We are going to ask that the 3 of them, and I will name them for you, Ron, so we know which professors, yes. We will pay them $150 a month to maintain a written record of all they see and do regarding the missions and the divine conscription of people on Urantia to work. They will be tasked with presenting a human history of the mission. It is priceless. We will pay each of them $150 a month. We will ask the president of the college for the loan of the department to us. We will donate to the college $800 a month. I had the impression, Magisterial, of infusion there of some sort. Would you repeat that, please? Thank you, Ron. Not $800 a month, $500 a month, Ron. That's what I thought. Thank you, Magisterial. Go ahead, please. You are so clever. I admire you. You caught it. I caught something. You confirmed it for me. Thank you. Now this. When the meeting is arranged, and I think it will be arranged probably the second week of January, Ron, please take Dominic with you, and you've got another fellow who will join you shortly. He will suddenly appear at the door and ask to come in. Does he crackle? No, he doesn't crackle. He will be somebody you know. It's up to you whether you take him or not. Well, is he dressed? Yes, of course he's dressed. That's all I wanted to know, Machiaventa. Thank you. You're welcome, Ron. And I turn this back to Michael. This is Michael of Nebadon, Ron. Thank you. I want you all to know that the airways are vibrating today with the Sunday Lightline, mainly because we've got so many changes to talk to you about. One of those changes is the fact that the Magisterial Foundation is now going to be bought by an incarnation that arrives at Ron's place. He will not only be carrying the sales agreement for the Magisterial Foundation, but the sales agreement for the Rayson Corporation, and those two alone are going to be it for now. York Pre-Particle can be a subsidiary to the corporation and doesn't even have to be incorporated. And for that reason, Ron, we ask your opinion. You're right. You can really run it as a seller, if you want, underneath the corporation, Rayson. It doesn't require a separate action to run. But it was incorporated primarily as a factory rather than an office. The Rayson Corporation is an executive office. It holds the patents, it holds the agreements, and that kind of business. But the York Pre-Particle will be the manufacturing side of the inventions, putting covers on it, switches, screens, the whole 9 yards. Oh, is that the reason for the difference? That was the reason for separating them. That's so you didn't have a legal office inside the factory. Fully understood. That's marvelous. Let me say this. This is the Deity Absolute, Ron. The trial that we must get through is getting you salaried and one other with you, and then seeing to it that gets here in June for his education and primary purpose. We won't have it built by June, Stephen, of course, but you need to be educated on how to run it. We will have a dummy to run. Wow. Thank you. Now this. I'm the Deity Absolute. I think all who are listening to this today know who I am. For that reason, please be aware that we do use a vocabulary at times that you don't know. And that's because it adds to the sophistication of knowing how God works. I am going to add a bit of vocabulary right now called the semaphores. It's not semaphore, is it? No, it's semimores. 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 Thank you. It's been a while since I used it, Deity Absolute. I apologize. Thank you. The truth of the matter is a semimore is inside an electron to help glue the strings of automatons to fuse their bodies to form the body of the electron. A semimore is a highly classified subject, but Ron has produced it as several paragraphs in his Cosmology of Infinity, a book we are still working on. Ron hasn't worked on it for 3 weeks and doesn't apologize, but he was stopped, Phyllis, from doing any further work. I looked at the text Ron. It is marvelous. I'm asking Michael and Nebadon to slightly modify some of the text of the cosmology of infinity, and some more will stay. Thank you. It's a fascinating insight in how it's done, Deity Absolute. I would hate to lose it. Thank you. Thank you. This is Rayson. I've asked to step in. We are now halfway through this Lightline, and the trial that we have to finish is, it could go on for another hour and a half, but we are not going to make it last that long. We're going to try to hew to the regular 1 hour schedule, maybe with 15 minutes over. I want to say this about the cosmology of infinity. Ron has rewritten it at least 4 times. It is a very wearing thing to do when you want to produce a book. He did it 5 times for Origins. He did it 3 times rewriting for The Crown. He's up to 4 with the cosmology, and it's going to be a 5th because he's got to rewrite part of the chapters. Phyllis, I think, understands it. And it's not everything, Phyllis. We're going to keep the title. And Michael cautioned Ron not to send it to all the physics departments in the first few months of release. We'll do that maybe 6 months after its release. But Ron is scheduling a budget to send and mail every physics department that has any say about how physics experiments are conducted, so that they have a copy of the cosmology. We are forecasting that the cosmology of infinity will set a roar off from the colleges because it is so different and so out of style from the present thought of what infinity is. Ron looked at a magazine yesterday, which he sent to some of you, where it talked about numbers and infinity, and was all excited that there may be a limit, even in infinity, for numbers. It infuriates Ron when podunk physicists can't get off the idea of numbers. Infinity is not an endless set of numbers. It never was, never will be, and cannot be. Ron explains what it is, and he does a beautiful job. We're going to add to it, and we're going to really make this book a revelation you can't put down. Now this is Rayson. Going back to WTP and Stephen Getz, for all of you to understand, Ron has offered Stephen the management of Rayson Electric. That is, he's the manager inside the building that sees to it that we generate electricity 24/7. It's a huge job, Stephen, but it's right up your alley. We are quite sure that Rayson Electric will set a standard for world electrical production, because we can produce 20 megawatts without a problem by transmitting it with a tingle of electricity instead of an electrocution. If you touch the tower leg while we're transmitting 20 megawatts, it will feel like a tingle in your elbow. It won't shock you. That's a friendly muon doing that. If it were electrons, you would be boiled alive. For that reason, we need to teach Stephen the protocols of why electrons, why muons, and why tachyons. He gets it all scrambled. He must not get it all scrambled when he is in charge of Rayson Electric production. We will run through the production of electricity with a dummy set, and I will see to it. Now this, I am Rayson, and this to you, Ron. The trial that you have is that you own the patent that allows Rayson Electric to run. Are you going to donate that? The truth of the matter is, Rayson, I'm not sure what I can do with it. I have been told that the U.S. Patent Office requires a single individual to own a patent. Now, we know the pharmaceutical industry owns patents. Why can't Rayson Electric or the Magisterial Foundation or to wherever you may direct it? Perhaps the public trust. Fully understood. You aren't sure. I'm not sure. Thank you. That doesn't confuse what I have to say. What I have to say, Ron, is that the patent is to stay with you for your entire life. It will generate huge amounts of income that you already will dedicate to the Magisterial Foundation, the public trust, to Rayson if he needs it, and so on. But in particular, dedicate it to the library. I love it. Thank you. Yes, so do we. That is your real contribution to us. We never, ever thought of recording a mission as it happened, but you have. Your history professors, I think, will love it. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. This is Rayson. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Rayson. I'm Michael. Thank you, Ron. I know we have a couple transmitters on the call today. I'm going to bypass that for now, and we're just going to use Ron's voice to simplify things. Here's Jesus. Welcome, Jesus. As you wish. Please go ahead. Thank you, Ron. I am Jesus. I belong to you. Hear me. The very wares, W-A-R-E-S, of how we do this is no longer necessary for you to learn. Those who already belong to the ascension of sons, a new human order on Urantia alone right now, already have the capacity to do it. That is, to hear me. To transmit is a little different. But to hear me, you can do it now. If you are part and of the new order the ascension of sons. I care very much that each of you understand that I am Jesus, not somebody else masquerading. Ron is furious with the cabal and their masquerades. He refuses to transmit them. And he owns a copyright called a patent to the electrification of the world totally. That is how marvelous it is. All the African nations can have electricity in every country, regardless of how rich or poor. Every person, whether they live in a hut, a stone home, or a palace, will have electricity easily. That is the miracle. The first miracle I give to you. Now this. I am what you call a severability. That's a terrible name to put on somebody for what they have to do. You Waitavu ask, what did Dominic mean when he wrote that I'm not visible? Well, frankly, I am going to be visible. But what Dominic meant was that I am not going around greeting the JCs, the Vatican, and all the little groups that get assembled in the name of a cause. I will see the Vatican, but the diocese are not on my schedule. For that reason, Ron laughs, and we know why. The truth of the matter is that Ron has produced something very noble. And it's going to reflect upon you and me to use it. He has put organizations together that will last forever. When I go, all the work I did is in those organizations. Let me remind you of something. In the brand new library you're going to build for us, when you come into it, you will see two guards standing by a glass case. Look in the glass case for me. There's my ring. I will wear a ring during my life on Urantia. It's on my middle finger on my right hand. It is an opal. That's Ron's birthstone. It'll be surrounded by 25 diamonds. It will have a sapphire on all four corners of the compass. It will have 3 sapphires for the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. I will wear the ring all time. And no, Ron, the glitter will not get in the way. The truth of the matter is I will dedicate the ring to the library to remember me. My ring will lie in state, and Ron insists 2 guards be posted by it armed. No one shall ever, ever, ever steal the ring of laity. That's what we call it, the ring of laity. Laity. The ring of laity. It will be what is left of me. I love you all. I will see you very soon. I kid you not. And I will be visible on channels. That is, on your cable TV and in your regular local broadcasts too. They would not dare not carry me. I love a resolute Jesus. We thank you, Jesus. Please go ahead. I am quite sure you love a resolute Jesus, Ron. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now this. We are now having a problem with streaming to some extent. Some of you got cut slightly back with power. We are still having it run with 7. We originally had 10, and one of you has come over to the Lightline Internet audio. Thank you for doing that. It works very well for you. Now this. I am Jesus, and I have one more statement to make, Ron. You, of all people, have seen to it that I am comfortable in my skin when I listen to your radio broadcast between you, Michael, and the others who come to listen. Dominic has heard some of it, but you have a patter that is delightful to repair to because it's light and it's funny. The truth of the matter is we will not give it up. The truth of the matter is I have asked that we get a radio station in York and broadcast an hour of transmission, perhaps a Lightline USA, for a general broadcast to the public to listen to and hear what transpires. We're going to see to it almost immediately, Ron. Stop that. He's put on a mask and a big fur piece. We're not supposed to recognize him, okay? Anyhow, I'm Jesus. The ring of laity is yours, people. It's in your library when the time comes. We hope the York College thing works out. Oh, brother, so do I. Jesus, thank you. The truth of the matter is no one has ever attempted to do this. Why not? First-hand human reporting to see Jesus, to see magisterial sons appear incarnated, to see the vast concourse of people in stadiums and in cable television productions, speaking to the millions through mass media. Ron has pulled a topper again, and I am so grateful. No, you can have an immediate high office, Ron. Chitlins. Of course. Now this. Michael of Nebadon here. I am speaking as Christ Michael now. The truth of the matter is that if there is a national hero in any of this, it's Ron foreseeing this, all of it, in 2003, when he began putting the corporations together. It took him 5 years to do it, and then some trouble with an attorney who shall be spanked, and then to do it ad hoc as he could from home and the accountants. Now we have some help from Dominic. He's helping with the reporting of the accounting, and that's a great weight off Ron's shoulders. And a lot less money, too. Dominic works cheap now, but Dominic will be well paid shortly. We thank him and Ron and all of you on this broadcast. Every one of you is a friend of Ron. Every one of you will hear from Ron. Every one of you is welcome to be around Ron when this starts, to be a team. To be the workers of the will of our Father in heaven. This is Christ Michael. Here is the Universal Father. I am Father. We speak gruffly. Yes, Ron, I'm not the battleship Missouri softening you up. For you who need to know history, for God's sake, they built the battleship Missouri to take down Japan finally. It is a monster. It fully flattened the islands surrounding Japan. There is no larger or more lethal battleship ever built. It sits in mothballs, we believe, in New Jersey. But they may have moved it to New York by now. We're not sure. When Ron says, I hope you're not the battleship Missouri, he's about as softened up as he can get. I don't need to soften him up anymore. The truth of the matter is that the trial that we see for Ron is not leavening the bread as Jesus may have suggested to the apostles when they left him after his death. What we see is Ron, the apostle, who fails to believe he's worthy and asks never to be called an apostle in faith and bowing to the first apostles, for there are none others than they as apostles. Paul of Tarsus is the first apostle. Ron may be called an apostle someday up here. That's how big a job he has done, and how amazingly it works with us. We've never done this before. We have never participated with the population as we go. And that's what this is. You are listening to the services of a Lightline USA Sunday. Monday it will be Elise. Tuesday it will be Phyllis. Wednesday it will be Amethyst. Thursday we have a blank. Friday we have Clancy. Saturday we have Lemuel. Every one of them have served in an apostle stations. They will be so honored. They will be given their due. You will all become sons of ascension. You will all serve the Father's will under a new deity. I'm not referring to the ultimate. That you will do. But there is a new deity. Ron has been chuckling with it all week and has refused to speak to it. It's not the deity of supremacy. I'm having a hard time getting it out, folks. Just a minute. It is the deity of laity. The deity of laity. That is the ring Jesus wears and dedicates to Urantia to be shown and admired in your new library. We never thought to call anybody, any deity, laity. But, folks, in honor of Urantia, in order of the name of laity, we honor all of you today on all light lines for stepping forward and becoming sons of ascension. You're a new order. Your over control is the deity of laity in the name of Jesus and his work the second time around you. I'm Father Ron. Good for you. You had to reorder the frequency. Yes, Father, I'm falling all over it. Thank you. You are shocked. Totally surprised. I love it. So do we, Ron. Thank you. The deity of laity is now going to speak to each of the light lines. Clancy, get your frequency cleared up. He's not very high. He speaks just above the frequency that Jesus does. And you transmitted Jesus. Phyllis, start transmitting the deity of laity and make it a regular post to the discussion forum daily. Ron will see to it that it gets its own category. Please don't forget, like calumnia, the deity of laity is now laid upon you, if you will, Phyllis. Lemuel, You have been pissing and moving and wondering and wringing your hands over nothing. You are commanded to take Saturday and just do it. You have the ability. Stop worrying it. Further, Lemuel, the work that Ron outlined to you in 2 very long, and I must say excellent posts if you ever dare to read them again, lays out the very precise thing you need to hear. Get your wagon fixed to the star of Father. Get yourself prepared to do as you need to, and stop waiting for others to prepare it for you. If you can do that, then the future is wide open to you with plenty of money. This is Father. I am now about to close Lightline USA for all of its extraordinary reporting and its amazing ability to be heard through the voice of Ron. He needs to be heard by the public, squeaky voice and all. I have insisted to Michael of Nebadon, Christ Michael, and Jesus that we prepare our radio for a mission radio. I like that. It's been called, I think, mission radio before, but certainly we can dress it up for you, Father. Thank you. Ron, thank you. The truth of the matter is that Ron will probably become a megastar because he can do this like no one else can. He formulates his voice precisely as I would speak if I were in front of you. Jesus says, "It is my voice." Michael says, "It is as I speak." He will be repaired. He will be with you a long time. And when the time comes, folks, Lemuel, Renee, Clancy, Phyllis, and anybody else, including Elise, who may in the future step up to take Thursday for us, will become rather famous on the Morancho worlds because you stepped up in the gale of disapproval to tell the truth. God bless you. The truth of the matter is, no one else would do it. Shame on them. They're my sons. And they turned their back. They turned their back on me. Father doesn't cry, but he feels it. The Urantia book asks, does Father suffer? You're darn right I do. What an affront to truth. They're forgiven. That's my role. but I'll be damned if they get honors until they deserve it. And that might not ever be. A lot depends on my mood. Yes, I feel it. I do have emotions. Now, something else you need to know. Do you remember Mantutia Melchizedek? No, Ron, he didn't die. I want to report something to you. That Melchizedek did such an extraordinary job on your fifth epochal revelation. Ron says it's poetry. I agree with it. Well, the man of epochal poetry has now been removed from the Melchizedeks forever. And he has been elevated to a magisterial son. And for that reason, Mantutia dare not return to Urantia. Ron pulls him down. That's Ron, all right? Ron wishes him Godspeed to serve in other places in Nebadon. And for that reason, we allow him to speak to you in his farewell to you on Urantia, the writer of your beloved Urantia book. I'm Mantutia Melchizedek, Ron. If a Melchizedek could cry, I would do it now. You are an extraordinary human. You give and expect nothing in return. That is a true apostle. You're afraid of the term applied to you, and you feel you do not deserve it. That belongs to the original 12. Well, 11 now. To Paul and to all who served in that capacity. The truth of the matter is, Paul is called the first apostle, not because he was the first, because he was the last. Jesus said to Paul, Paul, you are my true apostle. Stand with the others. And Paul did. And Paul served long years after the original apostles had met their resurrection. Now, as Mantutia, I want to say one thing to every one of you listening. There are 28 on the regular phone and now 7 on streaming. We apologize for problems on streaming. To the 28 and the 7, you all are destined to become sons of attainment. That's not the human order. That is a very special order that began life as little animals, babes to their mothers, and learned to climb the ivy of glory to the place of our Father. I refuse to listen further, Ron. You filled in a word for Mantutia. Yes, I did. Why? It occurred to me that a new expression, however slight, was necessary to show how the wall of stone could be climbed to the glory of Father. Hence the ivy. This is Mantutia. I want you to know, Ron, it is duly noted and an infraction. But it is one that is terribly welcome because my emotions are rampant too. The truth of the matter is that the streaming is throwing people off and they won't recall it. Is that cabal? No. That is a difficulty with the phone company. It must be changed again, Charles. Please. Finally, this. I'm Mantutia. I thank you for all my associations. To the midwayers I love as Ron does. To all of you, I love them as much as Ron loves you. To those on streaming whom he doesn't even know except by your number, we thank you for attending. I thank you for saying farewell to me this way, Ron. And for this final salute, this is the Universal Father. Ron, Amazon.com is dying not because it can't print your books. It's dying because it found out what it owes you. Come now, Father. No tall tales. Your apostle is poor. Your apostleship is not poor. Stop that. The truth of the matter is they owe you about $15,000. Oh, my God. Did they steal to send that to me? No, they did not steal to send that to you. You have sold a grand total of 5,130 Origins books and 2,000 Crown. I'm shocked. They have finally uncovered it. And this, you are a well-known author now. You must produce The Cosmology of Infinity shortly. We'll help you get it done. Yes, the publishing is a problem. We could get it printed as a book, sir, but we do not have distribution. Fully understood. We will see to it. Now, to everyone, we are over by our 15 minutes at least. We wish to say goodbye to all of you on this first Sunday Lightline of the new year 2022. It is a much happier new year, people. Learn to enjoy it in spite of the tragedies that will necessarily occur. Take it with your strength, with your faith in God. They haven't died. They are up here with me. For those who remain and see the missions flourish, you will have a lot to see. You will have a lot to hear. And your telephone may ring when we can get ordered enough to know telephone numbers. We say goodbye to all of you. We're not going to Q&A. You've already had it. God bless and goodbye. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening so far, and I hope you are walking away with amazement of the coming wireless electricity to the planet. I apologize for posting this a day late, but please look forward to the next every Sunday. There will be one coming. Now, I promised to you how to get to the recordings and also how to plug into the system to listen to the recording or to get the link to the recording if you want to share it and not this video, whichever choice you make. You go on Cerara Forum, CERARA forum.org. And there you go to home, which is right underneath the recent post, and scroll down to where you see Lightline schedules, Lightline tapes below, and there is USA Lightline. There you see toll-free numbers to call. That is your calling number according to your area and the code that you need to enter, or go to the audio tapes to get the links. That would be as simple as that. So you can call in if you wish, or you can listen to it live at the website. There is a link saying Internet Audio Lightline. Until next time, God bless you and have a wonderful week.